Hi learners, welcome to my YouTube channel. So today we are going to see the part 1 of the new topic, that is the quadratic equation. So in this one, let us see the introduction to the quadratic equation, and the detailed part we'll see in the next part. So now first thing, now what is this quadratic equation? So you know the general form of a quadratic equation is ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So what is a over here? This a is called the coefficient of x squared. B is called the coefficient of this x, and C is called a constant term. And here always in the quadratic equation, you can see the highest degree, here it will be 2. So always in quadratic equation, the highest degree is 2. So these things we have to remember first, the general things. Then the quadratic equations can be solved by 4 methods. First is the factorization, then the completing the square, using a formula, and using graphs. So now first let us see only a brief part of it, how to see for the solving with the help of the factorization method. Now we see, suppose we take this example now, 2x squared minus 5x plus 3 is equal to 0. So now you can see there are 3 terms in it. So this is the first term, we can write ft, this is the middle term, and this is the last term. So what we have to do, we have to see first the middle term. So middle term is minus 5x. So we have to split the middle term such that sum is equal to the coefficient of x. The product means, see here, the split the middle term such that the sum is equal to the coefficient of x, and the product is equal to the product of coefficient of x squared and constant. So now see here, we have, what do we have here? We have the middle term as minus 5. So we have to take, see, the product of the coefficient of x squared and this one, the constant. So what is here? This is the product of coefficient of x squared, that is 2, and this is the constant term. So now 2 times 3, that is going to be 6. So now see here, middle term is minus 5, and product of coefficient of x squared and constant, that is minus 2 into, so that is 6. So how will you write here? You can write that as minus 2 into minus 3, that is 6. So now what we can see here, the middle term we want minus 5. So we can write here minus 2 plus minus 3, that will be minus 5. So now see here, this is the middle term that is been split into minus 2x and minus 3x. So now the first term and the last term, that is the same. So now you can write here 2x squared minus 2x minus 3x plus 3 is equal to 0. So now now we have 4 terms over here. So what are we going to do? We will take this 2. From these 2 terms, what we can see, that 2x is common. So what remains in the bracket will be, that will be 2x squared minus 2x, means x minus 1 is in the bracket. Now we will see for these 2 terms. So now see, after 2 terms there is minus, so minus write as it is. So from this one, what is common is 3. So we'll write 3 outside the bracket. So remains in the bracket is x minus 1. So when you check it, that will be 3x. This minus minus becomes plus, and this is 3, and that is 0. So now what will you do? You will write here minus 1, that is x minus 1, and this will be, what is left, that is 2x minus 3 is 0. So now either this is going to be 0 and this is going to be 0. So what will you write here? X minus 1 is equal to 0 and 2x minus 3 is equal to 0. So when you rearrange this one, what do you get here? That is x is 1, and here when you rearrange that, what do you get the value of x? That is 2x is 3. So x is going to be 3 by 2. So now we got the 2 values of x, that is 1 and 3 by 2. So we can say x is equal to 1 and x is equal to 3 by 2 are the roots of the given quadratic equation. So now let us see the second thing, that is solving a quadratic equation by completion of squares method. So now this is the equation given. So what will you do here? First we'll bring this equation in a standard form. So what will you do? This 10 we are going to bring it over here. So same thing here, see, 2x squared minus 8x minus this 10 we brought it here, that will be minus 10 is 0. So now what will you do? The second step is divide the equation by the coefficient of x squared. So now see here, what is coefficient of x square is 2. So you are going to, this coefficient of x square, that is 2. So what did they say? Divide the equation by the coefficient of x square. So we are going to divide this by 2. So what will you get? Only remains here, this and this will get cancelled. So you will get x square, this is here. Here you will get 4, that is minus 4 because this is minus. And here will be minus 5. Hope you got this step. So you have to divide the coefficient of x square. So now what to do? Add the square of half of the coefficient of x. So what is the coefficient of x here? So now coefficient of x is minus 4. So the half of it, that is going to be, so this one. So how will you do here? Add the square of half of this one. So you are going to add half. Half means minus 4, that is going to be just 2. The square of that. So minus 2 square, that is going to be what? That is 4. So what will you do here? X square on both the sides of the equation. On this side as well as this side of the equation. So what will you write here? X square minus 4x plus 4 and this minus 5 as it is. And on the right hand side also you are going to add that one plus 4. So now what do you get here? X square minus 4x plus 4. And this one, this is plus 4 is here. So minus 5 you will take on the other side. So that is going to be plus 5. So this will keep as it is. So this is going to be 9. So now what will you do? Isolate the expression to obtain an equation of the form. So it should be of the form in this form. So x plus or minus k whole bracket square is p square. So now what are you going to do here? See here, this is in the form of, so when you see this first and the second term, so what is that? X. What is here? Minus. X minus, when you isolate, this will be, and this is the perfect square of 4. So it will be x minus 2 whole bracket square. So when you expand this one, now see here, a minus b whole bracket square, that is a square minus 2ab plus b square. So this is the formula. So what are you going to do? You will take the square of this one, that will be x. You will write this minus sign as it is, and this, that will be 2. So that is the whole bracket square of this, and this is 9. Now what will you do? Take the square roots. So now what will you do? Squaring both sides. When you square both sides, so what is that going to be? This is going to be x minus 2, and this will be, this is a perfect square of 3, but that should be plus or minus 3. So now what will you do? Once you will take, because this is plus or minus 3, along with this you will take, once you can take 3, and the other, again what will you do? Or it will be x minus 2 is minus 3. So how will you do this one? X is this 3, this will go on that side, that is going to be plus 2. And now here again, this is on the same side, this will go here, means that is going to be plus 2. So this is going to be 5, and this will be minus 1. So you got the two values of x is equal to 5 or x is equal to minus 1. So this step is important, that how you are going to add the third step, add the squares of half of the coefficient of x. So coefficient of x is minus 4. See, again I will repeat, minus 4, half of it, that is going to be 2. And then you are going to take the square of that one, because they said you have to take the square of it, square of that. That will be 2 ones are 2 twos are. So minus 2 square, that is 4. So you are going to add that 4 to both sides. So many times people, this one, many of them miss this step. So now we'll go for the next one, that is solving quadratic equation using quadratic formula. So quadratic formula is used to directly obtain the roots of a quadratic equation from the standard form of the equation. So now you know the standard form of the equation, that is ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So now what will you do? We have to find the root of that quadratic formula. This is the formula given. So x, how you do find out the x with this one? Minus b plus or minus root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. So now this is now we'll take the example. This is the equation given. X square minus 5x plus 6 is equal to 0 is the quadratic equation, and we have to find the roots. So now how will you do this one? Again, in this we are going to write that same thing, x square minus 5x is the quadratic equation. So you are going to compare with what? So you know the general form of the equation, that is the standard form. So that is ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So when you compare this equation with this one, so what you can see here, There's nothing means there is 1. So what you can do here, you can write this a as 1. Then you can write this b as the coefficient of that one. So that is going to be minus 5. And this c, you're going to write this as 6. So that is what is written over here. So now you know this one, that is b square minus 4ac, that is also called as the discriminant. So now first let us see that b square minus 4ac. Now you know the values of a, b and c. So just you have to plug in the values for that one. B square means minus 5 square because it is given here. So minus 4 as it is. So here a is 1, and c is 6. So you will write here 6. So now minus 5 square, that is going to be 25. And this together means that is going to be minus 4 6 are 24. So now what you can see, this is 25 minus 24, that is 1, which is greater than 0. So whenever there is a greater than 0 means hence the roots are real. So now you are going to use the quadratic formula. So what will you do here? Since the roots are real here, you will use a quadratic formula. So x is going to be minus b plus or minus root of this is a formula. In this we have to plug in, we have already the values over here, ABC values. So b is minus 5. So this minus from the formula, plus or minus root of, now see we already did this b square minus 4ac, right? We did it separately, b square minus 4ac. What did you get? The answer as 1. So we'll just put the value here in the root, that is 1. And then 2, and the value of a is 1. So this is 1. So now what happens? Say minus and minus becomes plus. So it will be plus 5. Plus or minus root of 1 is going to be 1. So this is going to be 1 and this will be 2. So what you can see here, first thing what I'm going to do, 5 plus or minus 1. So let us take once, we can take plus 1 and then minus 1. So x is 5 plus 1 divided by 2 and x is 5 minus 1 divided by 2. So this will be 6 by 2 and this is going to be 4 by 2. So 6 by 2 means this is going to be 3 and this will be 2. So we got the values of x as 3 and 2. So we can say the roots of a quadratic equation are 3 and 2. Now we have seen the discriminant, that is b square minus 4ac. So now for the quadratic equation of the form, this is the, the standard form of the equation. B square minus 4ac is called the discriminant of this one. So this is the separate, what I have given you addition. Now the nature of the roots. Based on the value of the discriminant, that is, the discriminant means we can write as d, that is b square minus 4ac. The roots of a quadratic equation are a square plus b square plus c, which is the standard form, can be of 3 types. So in this one, what you have to remember, if d, the discriminant, is greater than 0, then the equation are 2 distinct real roots. If discriminant d is 0, the equation has 2 equal. So here there are 2 distinct real roots, 2 equal real roots, and if d is less than 0, the equation has no real roots. So see here, these the points. First you have to remember, this is just an introduction. The examples, more examples we are going to do in the next part. So just same thing, I have just written it over here in the form of a tabular form. That is the value of discriminant if it is greater than 0, is equal to 0 and less than 0. So how is the nature of the roots? That is 2 distinct roots if it is greater than 0. If it is equal to 0 means 2 equal and real roots, and if it is less than 0 means no real roots. And what will be the value of roots? That is minus b plus root of d, that is a discriminant, divided by 2a, and minus b minus root of d divided by 2a. And here the value is going to be, when it is equal to 0, minus b by 2a, and here also will be minus b by 2a, and here the value will be nil. So now let us see for the graphical representation of a quadratic equation, how we are going to do it. So the graph of a quadratic polynomial, what is that called? That is called a parabola. So here, see here, this is a parabola. So for the quadratic polynomial, this is the general standard form of the this one, that is ax square plus bx plus c. If a is greater than 0, the parabola opens upwards. This is a parabola which will open like this upward. And if a is less than 0, the parabola opens downwards. So it will open like this. So you have to remember these 2 points. And if it is equal to 0, the graph is linear. You know the linear graph. It can be like this. It can be like this. The linear graph. It can be anyways. That is a straight line. So now see here, this I have shown you, this with a curve, that if a is greater than 0, it will open upwards, and if it is less than 0, the parabola will open downwards. So now let us see formation of a quadratic equation from its root. How to find a quadratic equation from its root? To find out the standard form of a quadratic equation when the roots are given. So now let us consider the alpha and beta. This is alpha and beta be the roots of a quadratic equation. So this is a quadratic equation, ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Then what will you write here? X minus alpha into x minus beta, that is 0. So when we expand this one, so what will you get here? When you expand this one, so you will get x square minus alpha beta minus alpha. This will be x alpha, we can write alpha x, and this is going to be plus, minus minus becomes plus alpha beta. Yeah, that is 0. So this is what is written over here. So now what you can see, this will write as it is, but now you can see here also you have x and here also you have x. This you can also write as alpha x. Both ways you can write it. So now what we can see, this is minus over here. So now from here we have taken this x, we have taken as common. Here what remains, we can arrange this one. See here, I just arrange minus beta x minus, it can be x alpha, this will be both is the same. So I have taken the alpha and the start. So first thing, minus I took for both of them the same, alpha I took at the start, and then the beta. So the value is not changing, only I have rearranged. So see here, when you expand it, minus alpha minus beta, and this is x. So minus alpha x minus beta x. So it is the same as this one. So hope you got this step. And this is alpha beta, this is the product, that is 0. So now what will you see here? You can see that this is 1, A is 1. Then the B is this one, minus alpha plus beta. And what is C? C is alpha beta. So now what you can see here, that is alpha plus beta means that is going to be the sum of roots, and alpha beta means that is the product of roots. So we can also write this one as x square minus sum of roots into x plus product of roots, and that is 0. So this you can also write this way. Hope you got this one. So now the next one is a sum and product of roots of a quadratic equation. Like alpha and beta be the roots of the quadratic equation. This is a quadratic equation. So now what did it say? Sum and product of roots. So sum of, we have seen in the previous one, what is the sum of roots means alpha plus beta, and that we can write as minus b by a. And here product of roots, that is alpha beta, that we can write as c by a. So that when you do the actual problems, you will understand it more better. So by this one, we have completed today's work. Do like and subscribe to my channel so you get the notification of the other parts.